أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم مستمعي راديو دبنجا.
Welcome, dear listeners, to Radio Dabanga. You are listening to Revolution Initiative, a program bringing you special coverage and monitoring of the current uprising happening in Sudan.
يوم جديد آخر يوم الأحد.
We will hear a speech made by a member of the Forces of Freedom and Change following the first day of negotiations with the Transitional Military Council, and the demands of youth and activists who were on the ground at the sit-in over the treatment of former regime actors. But first of all, Editor-in-Chief of El Tayar newspaper, Osman Makhani, raises the flag for those underrepresented in politics, putting the blame on the opposition forces for being poorly prepared and failing to listen to the initiatives of youth in Sudan.
من بيناتك مامك تطلع شمس عراتك يا شعب اللهبت ثوريتك يا شعب اللهبت ثوريتك انت تلقى براتك والفي نيتك